Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Al24 Midnight News Edition coming to you live from the capital Algiers. And these are tonight's top stories. The humanitarian truce in Gaza is reaching its final hours after it was extended for an additional day. Repeated Zionist violation of the truce and resistance confirms its readiness to respond to any renewed Zionist aggression. Calls for an international investigation on occupation soldiers leaving 5 premature babies to die in a Shifa hospital and the Algiers International Conference to prosecute the occupation before International Criminal Court culminates in a declaration calling for a focus on a strong documentation regarding the Zionist genocidal crimes in Gaza. During a working and inspection visit to the state of Tindouf, President Abdelmajid Tebboune stresses the importance of establishing a mining city around Jubilat mine and notes the great development witnessed by the iron and steel industry in Algeria. The Polisario Front calls on all countries to refrain from participation within the occupied territories and confirms that it is an open war zone since the Moroccan occupation blew up the ceasefire agreement in 2020. Starting from the world focus, Hamas has officially declared the extension of the truce with the Zionist occupation for an extra day, marking the completion of its first week. The Qatari Foreign Ministry confirmed also the extension until Friday morning, emphasizing the continued efforts to achieve a lasting ceasefire in Gaza. This temporary humanitarian truce, initiated last Friday through Qatari-Egyptian mediation, involves the release of Palestinian and Zionist detainees and the provision of aid to the besieged Gaza Strip. The Palestinian resistance movement Hamas unveiled the list of the 7th batch of Palestinian prisoners set for release in the ongoing exchange with the Zionist occupation. The list disclosed on Hamas websites comprises 30 prisoners, including 8 Palestinian female prisoners from the 48 areas and 22 minor prisoners from various regions on the West Bank. And according to the latest intel coming from Palestine, the process of exchanging prisoners between the resistance and the Zionist occupation continues as part of the humanitarian truce agreed by the two parties that entered its 7th day. The list published by the Hamas movement on its websites includes 30 prisoners, including 8 Palestinian female prisoners and 22 minor prisoners from various areas, also from the West Bank. Hamas has confirmed the Zionist occupation refused to receive 7 detainees, women and children, on Thursday, in addition to the bodies of 3 of the same category of detainees who were killed as a result of the Zionist bombing on Gaza. The movement said in a statement that this is happening despite confirmation through mediators that this number represents all the detainees it has reached of the same category around which is the agreement was made.
Good luck. No.
Since the announcement of the humanitarian truce in Gaza, the Zionist occupation has not failed short to confirm its long history full of betrayal and agreements violations, using the most horrific ways to massacre innocents in Gaza and other Palestinian cities, thus pushing the resistance to promise to respond to any further Zionist aggression.
The genocidal attacks the Zionist occupier has been carrying out for more than 50 days on the Gaza Strip, in line with the Zionist project to replace the Palestinian people on their land, was followed by their violation of the humanitarian truce agreed upon with the Palestinian resistance. Zionist occupying forces have violated the truce almost daily since its beginning. They fired bullets into northern Gaza Strip, where tens of thousands of Palestinians chose to return to their homes, causing the death of 2 civilians. Zionists also attacked Palestinian farmers in the eastern region of Khan Yunis, south of the Gaza Strip, and shot one of them dead in Al Maghazi camp in the central region. The aggressor also fired artillery shells and smoke bombs west of the Sheikh Radwan district in order to cover up its withdrawal from the center of the district. In conjunction with these violations, local sources confirmed the flying of Zionist spy drones of the sky of the Gaza Strip, thus violating the agreement terms. Zionists' repeated violations of truce prompted the resistance to delay the release of the second group of prisoners. It affirmed its commitment to the truce as long as the occupation adhered to it, and explained that its fighters only engaged in a field clash provoked by Zionists.
In the same line of thought, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas stressed the importance of doubling relief, medical and food supplies, and providing water, electricity, and fuel to the Gaza Strip as quickly as possible. Also providing the necessary aid for hospitals and basic facilities to resume their work in treating thousands of wounded and providing the services. This came during President Abbas' meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Ramallah. According to the Palestinian news agency, President Abbas indicated during the meeting that the Gaza Strip is an integral part of the Palestinian state, and it is not possible to accept it, or rather to accept or deal with the plans of the occupation authorities to separate it. Law experts and human rights activists have gathered in Algerian capital Algiers for a conference aiming to support the Palestinian people and hold the Zionist entity accountable for aggression against Gazans in particular and the Palestinians in general, with a strong commitment from all the participants to take action before International Criminal Court.
For all those who were killed in Palestine, and for all those suffering from the barbaric crimes and the genocide being committed by the Zionist entity against Palestinians, an army of lawyers and human rights activists from different countries raised their voice from the capital Algiers to call for justice for Palestinians and to say that those Zionist atrocities against them must not go unpunished.
The call was embraced at the Arab and regional level. So Mr. President's call have reached to those who are advocating for the Palestinian cause from a legal point of view. What we did is to implement this call in its first phase. There are still further actions and phases that will be undertaken by experts.
The Algerian initiative in particular and President Abdelmajid Tebboun's call to prosecute the Israeli criminals and to file lawsuits urged the Algerian judiciary and law experts to play this role. I think that it was the space for the holding of this forum. This is an important forum, a forum aimed at rendering justice for Palestine. We believe that it will create a breakthrough in the world to pursue the Israeli war criminals and all heinous crimes that they committed against the Palestinian people.
While the process might be long and perhaps complex, the Committee of Lawyers seems to have a clear roadmap, especially that the Zionist crimes in Palestine are crystal clear and has been documented in the last 50 days. Only a blinded person can see the 15,000 civilian lives who were murdered and the inhuman 3,400 massacres. The entire world witnessed the bombardment of hospitals and the forced displacement of people in Gaza. Images of babies having no weight in the country's politics, deprived from care, have crossed the globe, becoming a proof of another Zionist crime in Palestine. And from Algiers, a declaration was issued to incriminate every hand responsible for that.
Submitting reports to the Office of the Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, filing criminal lawsuits against the perpetrators of crimes against the Palestinian people by leaders and members of the Israeli occupation authorities, forming a follow-up committee to implement the decisions and recommendations issued by the symposium, addressing the international organizations and bodies referred to in the symposium's recommendations to besiege and prosecute the occupying Israeli entity.
While Palestinians continue to resist the Zionist aggression with everything they have, a resistance by law was launched from the Algerian capital to support them in their struggle against injustice.
Algeria hosted the activities of the International Conference to discuss violations by the Zionist occupation of the provisions of international humanitarian law in Palestine, especially in Gaza Strip, and ways to submit complaints before international courts regarding these unprecedented crimes. Forum participants praised on Algeria's initiative and its importance in achieving justice for the Palestinian people, supporting their just cause, and prosecuting Zionist war criminals. Away from Palestinian territories, but in a related matter, thousands of Moroccans and members of a human rights organization demonstrated on Wednesday in several cities in response to the call of the Moroccan Front to support Palestine and oppose normalization, demanding an end to the Zionist aggression against the Palestinians, in addition to the closure of the Zionist embassy in Rabat.
The days of anger of the demonstrators here in Rabat and in many Moroccan cities are continuing, and the street will not calm down until normalization is overthrown, the Moroccan people say. The Moroccan regime wishes that time could go back to the period prior to the 7th October. Reality has become amusing, amid citizens sending messages rejecting normalization.
الرسالة الرابعة لدولتنا.
It's the fourth message to our state, to our government. Isn't it high time to correct the sin? It's a sin, not a mistake. That convention is a sin. The agreement of shame and disgrace, the ominous agreement of normalization, is a shame. Isn't it time to hear the voices of the sons of Morocco? Aren't these daily referendums enough? Aren't these mass marches enough?
Masterminds of normalization in Morocco did not come out of their burrows to assume their responsibilities, given their lack of convincing arguments, according to law experts, especially after protests expanded, reaching universities, where the Student of Renewal organization plans festivals in which figures from civil society demand an end to the humiliation and indignity, as they put it.
We have been through years and months of political and diplomatic misery, and going to the US and Israel in a normalization show was meant to keep the Palestinian question, not only passing to the normalization with the Zionist enemy, but entering its arms and asking for its protection, and forming an alliance with it, considering it an opportunity and a diplomatic treasure.
Despite the Moroccan regime's insistence on moving forward in consolidating its relation with the Zionist entity, people in the Kingdom of Morocco refuse to do so, confirming through these successive marches that they will not accept an alternative to expelling from Morocco everything that is Zionist.
In the local matters, Algerian President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune supervised in the southern province of Tindouf the foundation of stone for the primary processing plant project for iron ore extracted from Gharj Bilat mine on the occasion of his working and inspection visit to the province. During his laying of the foundation stone for the project, President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune stressed the importance of establishing a mining city around Gharj Bilat. On the other hand, he stressed the need to immediately begin the completion of the steel complex in Bashar. President Tebboune also noted the great development that marks the iron and steel industry in Algeria. He explains that its production has become demanded in international markets, especially in Africa, Europe, and Asia, thanks to the factories of Iran and Belara.
هذا أعتقد أنه يوم تاريخي هذا بالنسبة للجزائر. دخلنا في المشروع الحقيقي. هذه الانطلاقة إن شاء الله الوتيرة تمشي بأكثر سرعة. نظن بشرى بالنسبة لسكان المنطقة، مناصب شغل، وبالنسبة للجزائر أعتقد أن المناجم تاعنا تعبت. منجم تاع الحالي تاع الونزة صبحت لاتونر تاعو ترفع. كل حال احنا صناعة الحديد والصلب والمستخرجات تاعها تفتح آفاق كبيرة بالنسبة للجزائر.
Algerian Foreign Minister Mr. Ahmed Attab reviewed the cooperation relations between Algeria and the African Court on Human and People's Rights. He also examined the difficulties the latter has in carrying out its obligation in line with the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The Algerian Foreign Ministry explained in a statement that Minister Attab received the African Court President Imani Daoud Aboud, who is on an official visit to Algeria along with her accompanying delegation to participate in the proceedings of the 71st session of this African judicial body hosted by Algeria. The same source added that Imani expressed her deep thanks and great appreciation for Algeria's support to activate the African Court. Amid the ongoing conflict, the Polisario Front representing the Sahrawi Republic declared its territories, including land, sea, and airspace, an open war zone due to the Moroccan occupation actions since November 13, 2020. The Sahrawi government urged countries worldwide to abstain from any activity on the occupied Sahrawi soil. The statement comes in response to the inclusion of occupied territories in Africa Eco-Race. European Coordination Symposium, or the Conference for Solidarity with the Sahrawi People, UCOCO, is set to commence in Toledo, Spain, emphasizing the slogan "Independence is the only solution to the Sahrawi issue." Attended by over 300 participants, including representatives of governments recognizing the Sahrawi Arab Republic, the conference aims to address the rights of the Sahrawi people to self-determination and sovereignty over their lands. During a meeting of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that the West was killing off any chances of reviving the bloc, which he said was on the brink of collapse. The Russian official said that the West shamelessly uses the OSCE aggressively to promote their own interests, intentionally undermining the fundamental principle of consensus and the very culture of diplomacy.
The current situation is a direct result of the persistent attempts by our Western neighbors to assert their dominance. They shamelessly use the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe to aggressively promote their own interests, internationally undermining the fundamental principle for consensus and very culture of diplomacy. Any impartial observer can see that this approach hampers the serious and earnest resolution of European security issues. However, Western capitals, with their unyielding obsession, are quashing any chances for the revival of the OSCE.
In a speech at the annual conference of the European Defence Agency, EU Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen said that the European Union should take Ukraine's military needs into account as it determines the future strategy of Europe's defence industry. The European Commission aims to propose its European defence industry program early next year, which would also look at ways to fund the industry.
Our strategy can only be complete if it also takes into account Ukraine's needs and Ukraine's industrial capacity. The first step to achieve this is to involve Ukraine in the consultation process of the industrial strategy. This should lead to integrating Ukraine in some of our defense programs, with the agreement of the European Parliament and the Council where necessary. This will not only help us cater for Ukraine's defense needs, it will of course also encourage convergence and joint planning between our militaries and defense industries. Ukraine is a future member of our European Union, so it must get much closer to us and much faster.
Algeria decided to carry out an additional voluntary reduction in oil production of 51,000 barrels per day, starting from January 1st, 2024 until the end of March, as part of the efforts aimed at supporting market stability in coordination with the member states of the OPEC Plus group, according to what was reported Thursday. And to wrap up our news bulletin, this edition, let's follow this story at the heart of Algeria truck trail of a woman and her daughter, Franco-Algerians, coming to Algeria to participate. Let's follow this story.
Two Algerian female athletes, a mother and her daughter, who currently live in the French city of Paris, have embarked on a journey of the Trek Algeria Trail, and its second edition in the heart of the Algerian desert, and precisely in the breathtaking city of Timimoun.
My name is Khaira Zerrari. I'm 22 years old, and it's the first time that I participate in Trek Algeria Trail in Timimoun 2023 for the 106 kilometers with my mother.
Khaira's athletic endeavor is fueled by a deep bond with her Algerian roots, and her mother Aisha, who has been a guiding force in fueling her love for sports.
I like challenges, I like exchanges, I like sharing, and I also like to travel to sports events abroad. Every time we go on a trip, it's systematically for sport.
Together they embraced the challenge of the Trek Algeria Trail, delving into the vast desert of Timimoun. As both navigated the captivating desert landscapes, their journey became not only a physical challenge, but a unique exploration of Timimoun's cultural heritage. Their participation in the Trek Algeria Trail showcases their family bonds and a celebration of their Algerian identity.
We've just finished the race with my mother, 106 kilometers. It was too difficult. We went through dunes, went up and down, and the landscape was magnificent.
The trail not only marks a significant athletic milestone, but also weaves a narrative of resilience, cultural connection, and the pursuit of adventure.
To this end, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking part with us. For more updates, you can follow our social media platform. And at the end, always, take care of yourself and good night.